If you want to hit your ultimate peak, everything should bless you. There is a way to live like this. You must see how to use the tools to build yourself into a truly spectacular human being. So, the 7 months in many ways was structured to break the familiar and step into the unfamiliar willingly. Well, some of you very willingly, some of you little pushing and some of you hard pushing, but you've done wonderful. It's been wonderful to have you here. A whole lot of people are saying sadhanapada people are really wonderful. That's nice. Because when you are on this path, it's very important that everything and everybody should bless you. If you walk on the ground, the earth should bless you, may this being grow, because you will need everything. If you want to hit your ultimate peak, you will need everything that you can get, every kind of support that you can get from anywhere. So it's very important that everybody should bless you, everything should bless you. If you go and sit under a tree, the tree should bless you. There is a way to live like this, that is what sadhana is. That's what sadhana is about, to become so much in tune, whether it's an animal or a bird or a tree or a blade of grass, it all feels close to you from their end, not from your end. And they kind of do the best they can do for you. Some people will say, this is all rubbish, there is no science like this. They think science happen in laboratory. Science is happening in creation. You noticed a few things, that's all. Nobody has noticed everything. You just noticed a few things and you call that science. But it's happening, the phenomena of life is happening, not in the lab, in the world, in the cosmos. So, to create a conducive atmosphere was the main focus of this culture always, that a spiritual person means immediately, he's supported in this culture. Like you have seen some of the panels in the Janalinga, you've seen those panels of the sages and siddhas of Tamil Nadu. One of them is representing this. If somebody has any symbol of being spiritual, then even if it threatens your life, you don't defend yourself to that extent. Even if people didn't have food to eat for themselves or their children, if they saw a person on the spiritual path, they first offered to him because they felt he's putting his life to better use than ourselves. That kind of atmosphere we need to create in the culture. It is not that today we have to go, we have to depend on people for food, we have other ways of doing things. I was at the economic forum, so everybody's busy meeting to meeting, we're all running from meeting to meeting, it's like 5 days of madness. But everywhere there are a few coffee counters and like snack kind of breakfast counters, which is all kept there, people can go pick it up and eat anytime because there's no time to go for lunch, dinner, anything, we're just on throughout the day. I see… I'm not making a statement on… a racist statement on anybody, but I was just observing, most people just come like this, all suited, booted people, they come like this and they pick up what they want, they don't like it, they just leave it there, put in the bin, walk away. Indian people, little standing back and slowly going. The Japanese people, all, top executives and things like that, these are not somebody who do not know how to move around. They come, the counter is about 5 feet away. When they come there, they pick it like this, bending down. I just observed repeatedly I thought, this is fantastic, that they're not even receiving it from somebody, it is just kept there. But to pick up the food, there is a certain gratitude and devotion towards it. They're bending down and walking the last few steps. In a totally corporate atmosphere, I'm saying, everybody's in suits and boots and everything, all right? They just… every one of them, nobody's… they're not even conscious, they're just doing it. I repeatedly sit there and observe. Whenever a Japanese person comes to pick up something, they'll bend down, go there and pick up like this. I thought, this is what we need, that we have some sense of gratitude towards the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, the food that we eat, and every other human being and every other creature on this planet in some way assisting our life. Every moment. Hello? You couldn't exist. You're not existing because of your own silly intelligence. Yes, you're existing because the whole thing is working for you all the time. So, one important part of sadhana is this, that you become like nothing. If you can't become nothing, at least become smaller than everybody else in the universe. Hello? It's very important. When your personality becomes small, your presence becomes very big. And that's what we need in this world. We need human beings who have a large presence, not people who have a large personality and nobody can bear with them. Tyrants. Too many tyrants. If I say a tyrant, you think of a Benito Mussolini or Adolf Hitler. No, no, no. Tyrants are everywhere. They are in the form of parents, they are in the form of teachers, they are in the form of… they're all over the place. Fortunately, they're not as capable as those two that I mentioned. Only their incompetence we're appreciating. But they are tyrants. So, one important thing for growth is this, do not understand growth as like this. Growth is to become like thin air, that your presence is strong, but your personality is like nothing. Do you fit into anything? This is very important. The flexibility, at least the body we've made it a little flexible. In the last few months, have they bent you, broken you a little bit? Some bones I think we have to break still. It's not just physical flexibility, it's as a life you're flexible. If you want to do something in this world, you must be able to fit into any situation and transform that. If you don't fit in, you cannot transform. That's what it is. So, now that 7 months are over and time to go home or whatever, I hope you still have a home. No, I've lived long enough. In 7 months, a lot of things can change. Lot of things can change. Who knows? So wherever you go, sadhana must continue, okay? Sadhana is not something that you remember, oh, we did sadhana pada, very wonderful. That's not it. Sadhana must continue. You must see how to use the tools to build yourself into a truly spectacular human being. I want to see that happening. Silence does not mean shutting your mouth silence. What is being referred to as silence or nishabd? One cannot do this. One can become this. See if you can articulate the same things that you're saying with half the number of words.
suddenly you will become extremely conscious of everything. The wind makes its own sound, so does the water. So does the earth. In fact, so does the sky. All the celestial objects are making their own sounds. There are sounds of pain, sounds of pleasure, sounds of misery, sounds of joy. For everything there is a sound. With human life, it's very true. Sounds of life, and there are sounds of death, and there are even sounds of silence. So this complex amalgamation of sounds, different kinds of sounds, creates different intent, different levels of compulsiveness, different levels of bondage, and different possibilities of entanglement. In all this, why one chooses to become silent? Silence is not a way of denying yourself life. It is not even about denying yourself articulation. Silence is about moving from compulsiveness to consciousness. All sounds represent different forms and different dimensions of compulsiveness. When one chooses to become conscious, not be entangled in the compulsive nature of the existence, he naturally chooses to become silent. Silence does not mean shutting your mouth silence, plugging your ears silence. You can sing in silence. You can dance in silence. You can even speak in silence. You can even scream in silence. You don't try. That does not mean when everybody is silent you scream. That is not screaming in silence. Because sound is of the surface, silence is of the core. It is only the surface which makes the sound. See, now the water is hitting the surface and making the sound. Deep down, there is no sound. That is so with life. On the surface, it is a very complex mesh of sounds, a maze of sounds happening. But at the core, there is no sound. There is no word for no sound in English language. We call it nishabd. That means absence of sound, a total absence of sound. Absence of sound means absence of reverberation. Absence of reverberation means absence of life. Absence of life means absence of creation. Absence of creation means absence of the Creator too. So a space which is beyond creation and Creator, a dimension which is beyond life and death, That is what is being referred to as silence or nishabd. One cannot do this. One can become this. Commonly, there are two words employed to describe this. One is maun, that means you're practicing silence, you're not silent. You shut your mouth and you're remaining in maun. This is not nishabd. Maun means you're practicing silence. If you're practicing something, obviously you're not that. Are you life or are you practicing life? I'm asking you. Are you life or are you practicing life? Practicing life? No, your life. Maybe not very well practiced, but your life. Similarly, there is a difference between practicing silence and becoming silence. Practicing silence starts as a certain restriction, but slowly, as one practices silence, one can possibly become silent. One can become silent in intense activity, but nobody can keep up intense activity forever. Moments of intense activity are only moments. Nobody can sustain it. You'll expend yourself. Only if you can achieve it in inactivity, it is sustainable. If something is possible only in intense activity, it is never sustainable. In a very intense and ecstatic moment of singing, somebody may become or taste a moment of silence. But how long can you keep it up? Your throat will tear. And your neighbors may kill you. Possible. So this possibility of coming to silence or becoming silent also means to become still, to become utterly still. Stillness can be achieved in so many ways. If you watch a snake, he's still. If you watch a tiger which is on a hunt, absolutely still, charged but still. These are all different dimensions of stillness practiced for survival. If a snake moves too often, he'll get killed. If a tiger does not know how to be still, he'll never get his food. These are all acts of survival. A human being, for survival, he has to be active. Only when his vision falls upon something which is beyond survival, then he will think of stillness. Then he will understand as he observes himself, as he notices the complexity of one's compulsions. He understands the only way to solve it is to become still. To train this body, to train this mind, to become still, takes some effort. If one is simply blissed out, he will become still. But otherwise one has to work bit by bit, one has to work to bring this body to absolute stillness. Most people cannot hold their body in one place for any length of time. They're all the time in movement. As it is said, a man is ill only because he does not know how to be still. Because in stillness, you're in touch with a dimension way beyond creation. Once one is in touch with that, there is no such thing as illness. If I sit here and the body rots and falls down, still there is no illness, it's just there. Because in fact, when one becomes utterly still, he may not be able to hold on to the body unless he learns the tricks, the mechanism of the body. So why should I become still? Will I lose my body? Anyway, you will lose your body. When the time to lose your body comes, if you want to lose it gracefully, then you must know at least a little bit of stillness. If you want to put your body down like you can put this piece of cloth down, with the same ease, with the same gracefulness, then you need to have some stillness in you. Otherwise, you and your body, you have to be torn apart, which is an ugly thing to do. When you're being torn away from your body, it is an ugly and painful thing to do, unless you can keep it down. There's no grace in life. So if one has to attain to that grace, at least a certain amount of stillness has to enter your life. For this to happen, a certain level of silence has to enter your life. If right now if it is not coming, at least practicing a little bit of Maun. In an hour, if you're speaking 1,573 words right now, how many more? How many words do you spit out in a minute? 1,573, you're actually doing that many? I thought that's impossible. Okay, I believe you. So whatever number you're doing, see if you can articulate the same things that you're saying with half the number of words. Suddenly you will become extremely conscious of everything. Right now, our oral diarrhea is happening. If you're doing 1573, it's diarrhea, okay. Now, if you have to hold back half the words and still say the same things, now you have to be very conscious, otherwise you cannot say it. Just try this and see. Tomorrow, one day. In an hour, normally what number of words you utter, make it half. Don't curtail your activity, still say the same things. But with half the words, how wonderful the whole world will feel, you know. World will be a wonderful place, I'm telling you, tomorrow, if everybody does this. Many marriages will be saved.